Students, welcome to our online session. These classes we were discussing about the concept of process management. If you could remember, last class we were discussing about CPU scheduling criteria. That means to have a CPU scheduling, what are the criterias we need to have? In that we discuss CPU utilization should be there, throughput should be there, turnaround time, waiting time and all. With that concept we finished off, and today's session we will discuss about CPU scheduling algorithm. Before starting with this algorithm, you should remember two concepts which we have discussed in our previous topic. One is called preemptive algorithm and non-preemptive algorithm. When it comes to non-preemptive algorithm, if the process is not going to stop in between and it's going to complete the task, yeah, kelsa in between, any work comes also, if it's not going to stop until if it terminates and all, then we call it as non-preemptive. So we call the term non-preemptive. That means until it finished the task, it keeps running. It's like you're charging the mobile phone. So once you put it for charging, even if it call comes or if you download a video, you play a game, it will continue the process until it finishes charging, or provided you forcefully remove the cable from it. So that concept we call it as preemptive scheduling, non-preemptive scheduling, sorry. When it comes to preemptive, it is a reverse of non-preemptive. Here, any process comes, the current process will be stopped and it will be, it need to wait, and the new process will be given priority. So that concept we call it as preemptive scheduling. Example will be when you receive a call. When you are watching something and you receive a call, means your video will be stopped and your call will be given priority. So in these algorithm, you need to remember these two terms. Non-preemptive means, yeah, once process started, it's not going to in between do any other task. And when it comes to preemptive, any work comes in between, it's doing the process. Any disturbance come or any other work comes, that current process will be put to the wait state and the new process will be entered into the job queue. Okay, so this is the concept. Today's session we are going to discuss about various CPU scheduling algorithm. So when these kind of multiple job has to be done, which process has to be given importance? See, ಒಂದೇ process ಮಾತ್ರನೇ CPU ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, so it just does the job. But when it comes to computer activity, it's not going to stop with one work, it has multiple roles to perform. In that case, which job to be given priority can be decided based upon various algorithms. We have various algorithms available for them. Nearly 6 algorithms is given for us to discuss. We will be focusing on this algorithm, and we can't say it is depending upon your operating system architecture. Yavadadu ಒಂದು algorithm your system would have been used and they would have designed your operating system. It depends according to your nature of the job or nature of the process. Any one of the algorithm can be used and it can be implemented. In that first thing, you can take down these 6 types of algorithm. First algorithm is FCFS. Next algorithm is called SJF. Third algorithm is called priority. Fourth algorithm is called round robin algorithm. Fifth is called multi-level queue scheduling. Last is multi-level feedback queue scheduling algorithm. So we have 6 algorithm to be discussed. Now we will start with our first algorithm, FCFS. The name suggests FCFS means first come, first serve. So when we talk about FCFS means first come, first serve. That means it whatever job comes first, that will be executed first. For this algorithm comes under nature of FIFO, first in, first out. You remember this concept and all we have discussed in our data structure. When we discuss about queues, we will say no, the first which entered will go out first also. Same way, this also, the process which enters first will be served first. In that way, process which enters first will be given priority and it completes the jobs and goes. But another factor is there are certain time it will have a long waiting queue. Why? Because for example, first job is very big, So the all other jobs which is behind the first job need to wait until the first process get completed. Until that, it can't do, other process can't do any other activity. So that's the one factor about this FCFS. And to explain these concepts and all, here we will prepare in operating system, we will prepare one specialized chart called Gantt chart. This Gantt chart, with the help of a Gantt chart, we can identify, we will prepare a Gantt chart for the process, and then with the help of a Gantt chart, we can calculate the average waiting time, response time, turnaround time for the process. Okay, so we will learn how to do the Gantt chart. So when it comes to Gantt chart, so with the help of Gantt chart, we will do it off. So to do this Gantt chart, we will take one example. Then we will execute this. So based on FCFS, I am taking one process and the burst time. Table is taken. So here you mention it as process CPU burst time in milliseconds. Then so this is the process. These are the burst time. That means these are the different jobs, P1, P2, P3, P4. And when each job will start, that will be there. So to do this P1 job, we need 8 millisecond. Then to do P2 job, we need 4 millisecond. To do P3 job, we need 6 millisecond. And to P4 job, we need 2 millisecond. So to draw the Gantt chart, drawing Gantt chart is very simple. Start from the process. Okay. Just draw a rectangle. From here you start. So first process. Okay, first process, how long it needs? It needs 8 milliseconds. So draw one rectangle, and this is P1. So this is first come, first serve. So remember, when you draw, first process need 8 milliseconds. So I have drawn the 8 millisecond. Once I finish, I need to start the second process. Why? Because the name says first barvadu, first complete ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. 8 was there. I finished 8. So finished off. Then 4. Then start with the second process. What is the thing? 4. So we were in 8. 8 plus 4, 12. So to complete P2, it requires 12 milliseconds. Then we start with P3. How many milliseconds? 6 milliseconds. 12 plus 6 is 18. So we will finish P3. And P4 is 2 milliseconds. So P4, 18 plus 2, 20. So to complete this entire process, CPU requires 20 milliseconds. 0 in the start ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. To complete all the 4 process, we need 20 milliseconds. This is how we will draw the Gantt chart. Got an idea? Once again, let me explain about Gantt chart, because once you draw the Gantt chart, calculating the remaining thing is very simple. So to start with Gantt chart, understand your first process 8 millisecond. Draw a rectangle. And what is the thing? First is 0, 8 millisecond. Name is P1. Next is 4 millisecond. 8 in the start ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So what is the thing? 4 milliseconds. So 8 plus 4 is 12. So this is going to be P2. Next is 6. This will be P3, and 12 plus 6 is 18. Last is 2 millisecond. So 20. This is will be P4. So 20 milliseconds it takes to complete this task. Like this, you need to draw the Gantt chart. Name of this is Gantt chart. With the help of the derived Gantt chart, we can calculate average time, average waiting time, average response time, average turnaround time and all. For that, formula is there. Just with the help of the chart, apply it in the formula, you will get the answer. Clear? So keep this Gantt chart here. Then we will do the calculation part of it. So the same chart which was I have drawn down, I have put it in the top. So this was the value we have taken, a process. We have 4 processes to do, and these are the CPU burst time. And this is the Gantt chart we get. With the help of Gantt chart, first thing we need to calculate average waiting time. So to calculate waiting time, formula is time of submission minus arrival time. Time of submission means complete on the process, complete our time minus arrival time. What is the thing we want to calculate? Waiting time on the process. So how long it waits to complete the task. So how long it waits to complete. See, P1 starting alle enter agbittide process alli, but P2 it has to wait 8 milliseconds, then only it can enter. Able to understand? Like that. When it comes to P3, has to wait to complete for the P1 to complete, then P2 to complete, so that it has to wait for 12 milliseconds. So that how long it take to wait to complete the task. Process start madake how long it is waiting is calculated under average waiting time. Formula will be time of submission minus time of arrival. So first we need to calculate for waiting time of P1. So what is the waiting time? Starting time of submission is also 0. Time of arrival also 0. So answer is going to be 0. And when it comes to waiting time of P2, so time of starting submission is 8, because 8 millisecond I need to wait. I will start only there. When I have arrived in the 0 millisecond only I arrived. So 0. So 8. Next, waiting time of P3 equals to when it is starting 12 millisecond minus 0, that is 12. Same way, waiting time of P4 equals to, I need to wait up to 80 milliseconds to start, but arrival is 0 only. So answer is 18. So to calculate average waiting time, you need to add all the values, 0 plus 8 plus 12 plus 18. So you will get 34, and since you need to calculate the average, you need to divide by number of process. So 34 divided by 4. So once you divide 34 divided by 4, if you calculate, you will get 9.5 milliseconds. So you will get 9.5 milliseconds. So this will be your average. So average waiting time is 9.5 milliseconds. Total agi ee process complete madake, until I finish all my process, I need to wait 9.5 milliseconds. So this is how we will calculate average waiting time. In exam also, they will give a chart like this and they will tell you to calculate. If they ask FCCES, you need to calculate in FCFS method. Other methods also is there. So today we will start with FCFS method. In FCFS method, first Gantt chart yatara madbeku anta gottagirbeku. First come, first sum. So depending upon the process, one job I will start and keep adding. Prepare the Gantt chart. Based upon the Gantt chart, average waiting time, how will I calculate? Time of submission minus time of arrival. Ella process 0 time alle reach agbidutte. So time of arrival will always be 0. And time of submission alone will be, it will be for 8, 12, 18, 20. This method is like, I am not disturbing the process at all. Disturbe maata illa. What process is there, it will complete and do the task and go. So when we don't disturb a process with an unurgent job, that is called what type of scheduling? Yes, it will be non-preemptive scheduling. So this method is used for non-preemptive FCFS, because we have to calculate for preemptive FCFS also. That means in between process will start also. But this comes called non-preemptive FCFS. That means whatever process given, I just do the task and go off. So this is an example for non-preemptive FCFS. We did not finish, we just finished the waiting time. Next we need to calculate the turnaround time. Next we need to see, we saw the calculation for waiting time. Waiting time means one process to enter the process queue, how long it has to wait. Okay, then we were able to find the average waiting time also. Now we will move on to turnaround time. Turnaround time will calculate how long it take to complete one full process. Okay, one full process complete madake how long system has to a system will take. That we call it as turnaround time. So turnaround time is calculated by the formula time of completion minus arrival time. ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ಗೆ ಅರೈವ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆಯೋ ಮೈನಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಷನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ಯು ದ ಟರ್ನ್ ಅರೌಂಡ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ all the four process. So for the first process, time of completion of turnaround time of P1. So what is the formula? Time of completion. What is time of completion of P1? 8 I will complete. So 8 minus what is arrival time? Arrival time of all processes 0. So 0. So I will get 8. Turnaround time of P2. What is turnaround? What is the completion time of P2? 12. So 12 minus 0 equals to 12. What is the completion time of P3? 18. 18 minus 0 equals to 18. What is the completion time of P4? 20 minus 0 equals to 20. Next you need to calculate average turnaround time equals to 0 plus 12 plus 18 plus 20 equals to 54 divided by 4. You will get 14.5 millisecond. 58 this is, so 14.5 milliseconds. So turnaround time we got for this particular process is 14.5 milliseconds. So average turn around time is 14.5 milliseconds. So we calculated two formulas for FCFS, average waiting time and average turnaround time. Next we need to calculate for average response time, how fast, when each process will respond to each other. Each process will respond, not waiting period, respond time, when each process started responding. So next is response time. So when it comes to response time, formula will be time of first response. One process ಯಾವ time ಅಲ್ಲಿ respond ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ start ಆಯಿತು minus arrival time. Usually as for pre-emittive scheduling is concerned, arrival time is also 0. I told you this all belong to pre-emittive scheduling. So arrival time will be 0 only. So when we start for calculation for response time of pre-1 is, what is the response time? We started with 0. So 0 minus 0 you will get 0 only. So 0 minus 0 you will get 0. Next is response time of P2. P2 when it started responding in 8 millisecond. P2 yavaga start aitu 8. So 8 arrival time is 0. So you will get 8. For P3 in 12 millisecond it started responding. 12 minus 0 12. P4 it started responding in 18 milliseconds. So it is 18. So when we calculate average, we need to calculate average response time equals to 0 plus 8 plus 12 plus 18. So you will get 38 millisecond divided by 4. So 38 number of processes thing. So you will get 9.5 millisecond. So average response time is 9.5 milliseconds. If it is pre-emittive scheduling, this example pre-emittive, that means process yavde in between disturb agalla. One process will start and one process will, that process will complete, then only next process will start. In that case, waiting time and response time will be same. So if you could observe, waiting time is also 9.5 millisecond. Last is average response time is also 9.5 milliseconds. Last is throughput. Throughput is quite simple to calculate. Throughput equals to Let me so throughput is formula for throughput. Number of process by time completion. So the process time completion state. Okay, for this, so throughput is equals to number of process. We have 4 process 4. What is the total time taken to complete? It is 20 millisecond. So answer is 0.2 millisecond. So throughput 0.2 millisecond. So through what's the formula for throughput? Number of process by time completion. Okay, total time of completion 20 milliseconds only we are completing. Number of processors is 4 and it is 20. So we will finish in 0.2 millisecond. So in this thing they will give this representation. They will give the process and CPU time and tell you to calculate average waiting time, average turnaround time, average response time and throughput. You need to use the same formula and you need to calculate. In FCFS, Gantt chart, this Gantt chart, if you are putting it correctly based on FCFS, calculating the remaining thing is all very simple. So when it comes to average waiting time equals to time of submission minus time of arrival. Same way response time is also time of first submission minus arrival time. And then when it comes to turnaround time, it is time of completion minus arrival time. And last throughput is number of process by time completion. Okay. So this is about FCFS in case of preemptive scheduling. Okay. Next session I will upload a video based on FCFS. This is an example for non-preemptive scheduling because we are not having any disturbance in between. So this is an example for FCFS non-preemptive scheduling. Next video I will upload a video which will have FCFS preemptive scheduling. Okay, I will give one homework problem. Try doing that problem and upload the output in the classroom app. Okay, try to do it on yourself. Very simple to do. If you know to do this, 5 marks is guaranteed. Okay, any one of the method only they will ask, like preferably most of the time it is FCFS method only. In that case getting the mark is very easy. Okay, in theory part if they ask explain FCFS means see problem is given, you can calculate and do it off. Even if the theory question is asked, write a note on FCFS means you need to write one process on your own like this. Any process on your own, draw the Gantt chart, calculate all the things. So understanding this calculation is very important. Not only they give the thing, even in a question wise if they ask, you need to explain only with this example. Clear? This is about first come first serve and this is suitable for non-preemptive scheduling. First come first serve. Okay. Hope you understood the concept. Take down the example problem and try. I will give 2 problem as a homework problem. Try doing it up. This is your homework problem. Take down the problem. Try doing it in your note and upload it in our classroom app. Next session, we will discuss about FCFS method only, but using primitive scheduling based algorithm. Okay, with this we end our session. Any doubts or any clarification, post it in the classroom app or in our WhatsApp group so that I will be able to solve your doubts or clear your doubts. With this we end our session. Have a nice day. Thank you.